Tweet Twitter. And there we go. We've tweeted the world. Oh, we forgot to Instagram. Just a sec. Forgot to do that yesterday, too. Hey, folks, world famous fucking marijuana man, and I'm live in my goddamn fucking shed getting all fucked up with my goddamn fucking sublimator. The link is in my fucking description here on Instagram. Click it and be there or be square. Peace out. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, there we go. It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to get things started. So why don't we get things started? It's time to get things started on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, televational. Oh. I was getting excited there. Oh, yeah, my sweater. It used to belong to this guy. He died, so I took his sweater. He was like wearing it, when he died. And when the body retrieval people came up, I'm like, does he need to have his clothes? Because I'll take the shoes and sweater. And the body retrieval's like, you can take whatever you want. I don't give a fuck. And I'm like, good. I'll take the sweater and the shoes. Thank you very much. And so there you go. If you die near me, folks, I won't waste your belongings. I'll make sure to make any ones that are useful to me, my belongings. Mm. Yeah, it does fit well. He committed suicide, folks. So many suicide cases in my life, you lose track after a while. But Buddy committed suicide. He took some pills. Then he phoned me and goes, guess what, Steve? I'm like, what? He said, I'm going to be dead in an hour. I just took a whole bunch of pills. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'll be right over. Just a sec. And then he died. And he had AIDS, right? And was dealing with a lot of BS. Didn't want to deal with that BS anymore. So, we weren't like, oh, don't do it or anything, Fuck. Do whatever you want to do. And so that's what happened. And then he died. And then his boyfriend that was there too at the time, I'm like, should we call 911 now that he's dead? And he's like, no, 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 because they'll try to resuscitate him, which is probably true. And so we waited 35 minutes before we called. Oh, fuck. And so there you go. It's all good. I had another friend who committed suicide and gave me a shitload of money just before he committed suicide. It's true, folks. He used to work at the rail yard doing the upholstery and trains. He loved trains, right? And then they retired him from the train company at 65. They say, you can't work here anymore. You're too fucking old. And he's like, well, my life is trains. What do I do without working at the train station? And they're like, well, that ain't our fucking problem. So, anyways, he lived right next door to the railroad tracks on the 10th floor of his building. And so he went to the roof of his building and waited for the time the train was coming. And then he jumped off the roof of his building about 10 stories in the air. Well, a little more than that, about 12. And then he landed on the railroad tracks and got ran over by the train. But before he jumped, he gave me his wallet, which had like $8,500 in it. Oh, it's true. And so I was like, thanks a lot. And he was like, thanks for the good times. And then he fell to the train below. What can you do, eh? Here in Canada, you know, folks, life, it's worth a lot. Like in the US too. But, you know, most of the places I travel to, like in the Caribbean, it ain't worth much, folks. No, no, no. I knew these two girls in Trinidad. They were twins. We used to hang out and party all the time, right? So we're partying, having a good time, and then we break up for lunch, eh? Where they're like, oh, we're going to go over to some fucking shithole for lunch. I'm like, I wouldn't dare eat at that place. And so I went home to eat, right? And then her twin sister got killed while they were having lunch by crossing the street, which is a common way to die in Trinidad, actually. A very common way to die. I would say like 2, 3 people die every day, at least. And so then she shows up. I'm like, oh, where's your sister? And she's like, oh, she got hit by a car on the way here and got killed. I'm like, well, aren't you going to like hang out, talk to the emergency people or something, mourn? She's like, I had a great time with my sister while she was alive. All good things come to an end, as she put it to me. And then she went on to spend the afternoon partying. Oh, yeah. And that was the end of that. I'm like, oh, in Canada, people weep over this shit for months. You know? Oh. And so, anyways, here we go, fire in the hole. Oh, yeah. You fucked up my senses like a knife. Oh, my mother, they were digging a big hole for a new foundation to a new building on their property. They build all kinds of shit. We don't try and make sense of it. They just build it, right? So they're building this new shit and they're digging this hole to put a basement in, right? And they come across a police car. And so my mother's like, look, we found a police car in the yard. And I post underneath, oh, yeah, that's the car I stole the radio and siren out that parked in front of our house. And then I figured we don't want the cops finding out that I stole the radio and siren. So we better just take the whole car and bury it. And my mother's like, what? I'm like, oh, yeah. They were probably looking for that for some time, you know? Oh, no, it's been buried like 10 feet under the ground for like, since 1989, 1990. You know the siren on the top? The car was parked like overnight in front of our house, eh? So I was like, wow, I should take the lights off the top. They'd look really cool in my basement, which they did. I still have them to this day. And then I decided since my DNA is probably all over the vehicle now, I better just get rid of the whole vehicle, you know. And so we dug a big hole with the excavator and just tossed it in the hole and then filled it in. The cops, I guess, came by in the morning looking for it and couldn't find it. They would never ask any of the locals about it because, well, they know they're not welcome in that town. And that coming on their local people's properties, especially as a government person, is a good way to get yourself killed, especially wandering around by yourself. And so nobody knows if they were looking for it or not because they never asked, anybody, because like I say, that town, folks, the nearest police station's a 50-minute drive. You can't even call 911 there. It's a long distance call to call any emergency services, none of which will come anyways. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The last police officer to actually come through that town, folks, well, there's a reason why it was a she, was the last one. Oh, yeah, it's a big story. So basically, we'll give you the short version, folks. This douchebag of a pig, right, is chasing some car thief and decides to fly through our tiny little community of 500 at like 400 miles an hour, chasing this car thief who wouldn't have even pulled off the highway through our neighborhood had not been for the pig who was chasing it, right? And so while the pig was chasing it, she rolled over her vehicle, killed herself, and landed on a child, one of our neighbor's childs, a girl, and killed her too. We don't give a fuck about the pig, but our local children we were very concerned about. And so then they had this big funeral. You know how pigs have funerals, right, folks? So about 3,000 of the people from the community and all their relatives and stuff all decided to show up at the funeral, holding signs saying, "Pig died, doing more harm than good. Stay out of our community, pigs." And all kinds of nice stuff like that. And the whole thing turned into a gong show and a 6 o'clock news event and a riot. And they were barely even able to put the casket in the fucking ground because they had to drop it about 5 or 6 times because they were being torpedoed with rotten tomatoes. And then fires broke out, and then there was a riot, and they couldn't leave their cars unattended or we'd set them on fire, right? And it was shit like this. And there was like 3,000 of us. And it was just a total gong show. And the police learned, don't go there. And they've never gone back again. Yeah. Never gone back again. That was a long time ago. My mother says she's never seen one again. Not that they're welcome, Nobody there supports anybody who works for the government in any form, right? They have no emergency services. which is really good because I used to take these old houses that they have out there, folks. You know, people die and then their house gets abandoned. And so I used to stuff it full of garbage and then set it on fire and it would burn for like 5 or 6 months. It'd be like so awesome. There'd be this huge cloud going over the highway of fucking smoke. It was like the best. I had a tire fire, folks, in that town that last, well, rumor has it it's still going, right? But they're going to be putting it out soon because they have built a resort and the resorters are complaining about the tire fire that's been going basically since 1995. I mean, I threw maybe 20,000 tires on that fire, and people continue to throw tires on there to this day, you know. Everybody who changes their tires in that town throws their tires on the tire fire, you know. Fuck. That's how we do it. It's the sixth great extinction. The time for giving a fuck, well, that's long over. You know? Oh, it is. And so we're going to prepare another big fat dab. Get all fucked up. People keep saying this Kenosho, Nino, whatever fucking name to me. I don't know who this is. I guess it was some guy on some sort of trial. I don't know much about it. You know, I'm in Canada. We don't talk about American stuff. And so there we go. We don't give a shit, you know. Suppose it's some sort of self-defense case. You know, I thought you're randomly allowed to shoot people in America, especially if they're like darker than white people, you know? And so there you go. And so here we go, fire in the hall. Oh. He come again. Oh. So zippity doo dah, zippity yay. I'm smoking the Maui fucking wowie. Oh! From my good friends at the Buzz Extracts, you know. I already have my shed rented out. There's a guy, he lives in this blue cooler. We don't want to be too loud or we might wake him up. He gets pissed off then, you know. He gives me $600 a month to live in the cooler. Da 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 da. Oh, it's pretty cold. Gonna do another big fat fucking dab. Fuck the goddamn fucking shit up. Oh, Mickey Mouse. Forever let us hold a better ha 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 ha. Oh yeah. Oh folks, they had these big floods in the United States and here in BC due to all the torrential rainfall, you know. It's created like a state of emergency and people are homeless. These things happen about every 4 or 5 years in the exact same spots every time, right? And there's like this article in the paper, folks, trying to blame the US for, you know, something that they flooded the water by adding more water to the system, right? Meanwhile, their level of incompetence, folks. I mean, this is used to be a lake. It was drained to make floodplain and then built a dike and has like 3 pump houses and only one that actually works. You know? Uh, the level of incompetence is like so mind boggling. It's like a Simpsons cartoon. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it is. They got no one to blame but themselves, right? Yeah, it's similar to New Orleans, except New Orleans at least is a little more prepared than that. And now is way more prepared, right? And so, yeah, it was even worse. So, anyways, we got this big fat dab here. Gonna dab it up. Fire in the hole. Oh, fuck. La da 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 da. La di da. Another great DA is here to get fucked up again. Oh, 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 oh. Tried to get that on there, but doesn't seem to want to. No, not gonna happen. And so here we go. Find the home. So there we go. So, folks, I gotta run. Gonna make some muffins. It's gonna be good times. Peace out.